and welcome to video number 2 of my 3 board game recommendations. So this episode I've decided to focus on 3 games that are very easy and portable to take down the pub, or they're just something that can fit in your bag, and a nice game to basically take down and play at the pub if you think that's going to be the sort of environment you're going into. So, without any further ado, I'm going to go with start with a pretty of a classic. Let's start with the game Love Letter. Now, this game has been around quite a while. Now, this version, there are various versions of this game that are already out at the moment. This version is the version I choose to buy, which is kind of like the Japanesey sort of version. But the original classic version of Love Letter is actually like a sort of like a Pride and Prejudice type feel to it as well, where you've got sort of princess and countess and barons and that sort of thing as well. But this version that I'm about to show you is the Japanese version of it. Now, the idea of the game, and there's a sort of almost like a little story that goes along with it, is that you are in love with a princess, or I think I think the princess is the same thing that it applies to in the Japanese version as well. So you're in love with a princess and you want to send her a love letter, hence the name of the game. And basically you need to pass that love letter on to the most direct person you possibly can higher up the chain. So it starts with the guards who are guarding the castle, or goes all the way up to the princess, who is at the top of the chain. Obviously that means you're handing the love letter to her directly. And basically the aim of the game is the player who can pass that love letter on to the highest person up the ranking. So obviously if you can hand it to the princess directly, then there's nothing that beats that. But if you could only pass it to a guard, it's got to go work its way up through number 2, number 3, number 4, that sort of thing. The chain in the Japanese version goes guard, courtier, then diplomat, then shugenja, then hatamoto, then manipulator, then sensei, and then the princess. There is the list there for you to have a quick look at. And basically you take one card, you've got that one card, and then on your turn you will pick up a card, so you'll have 2. So you keep one in your hand and you play one, and basically whichever one you play has got an action written at the bottom there. So you can see that the guard there, that's number 1, and then you can see the action written at the bottom. There's the shugenja as well. So we'll look at the other ones. There's the sensei, there is the courtier, there's the princess, there she is, Awiko Miyako. Who else is there? There's the manipulator. I don't think we've had that one yet. The diplomat. I think that's pretty much all of them, isn't it? Did we say? Yeah, I don't know whether we said that one, but there's the hatamoto as well. So yeah, basically, you play one, you play one, you keep one, and a lot of the action basically it becomes harder for you to keep hold of the higher cards, obviously. So, and at the end of the round, once all the cards have been used, everybody compares cards. If those people that are left in, because you can take other people out, or you can end up being out yourself. Basically, everybody produces their cards that are still in the game, and whoever's got the highest basically wins that round. And you get little tokens. There we go. Tiny little cube tokens that basically tell you whether, well, I think it's like first to 4 or something along those lines. But the great thing about this version of this game, I'm pretty sure the other one does too, but I think you have to buy like a special edition version. It comes in like a little bag that you could, so you don't have to take this whole bulky box thing all the way to the pub. You can actually take this little bag down the pub, something that fits in your in your bag or your pocket, you can take that down there. Very simple game, doesn't take very long to explain at all. It's all basically, the game just revolves more or less around just reading exactly what the actions of those particular cards are at the bottom, and then if you play them, that particular thing happens, really. So discarding a card is seen as playing a card in this particular game. That's basically all you have to know. So Love Letter, that is usually quite cheap, actually. I remember it's always somewhere between £10 and £20 as well, so it's very, very cheap game to pick up. Number two, this isn't necessarily planned, but keeping on the keeping on the theme of Japanese, this one, Age of War, is quite a good game, and it's a very diddy little box as well. That's the reason why I'm recommending this one, particularly for this. This is a dice rolling game. All you need really is just this box, really, to sort of roll the dice in. But this basically, it's a dice and match game, really. So there are various different castles or groups of castles. So you can see the grey ones here, and they all have different sorts of symbols on them. There's a green one there, and two have got actual points on the back as well. I'll tell you what those are for in a minute. There's some yellow ones here, some purple ones, there's some red ones, that sort of thing. So basically they all get played down on the table in front of all the players, and basically you just with your particular troops, you're attacking those castles, and basically you need to roll. I'm going to show you an example of one dice. They've all got the same on them. Roll one of a few things. So you've got two swords on there, you've got bow and arrow, you've got little samurai face, you've got little horseback men, I think that's it, yeah. So yeah, the idea is basically to roll the correct amount of things written on the card, in order to attack and claim the castle. If you manage to get a number of, say like all of the grey cards, then they become completely yours. Then you turn them over, and there's also like scores on the back as well. So they become like, so that there, for example, on its own, that grey card is worth 1. When you claim all of the grey cards, that one there is worth 4. So the scores actually go up. So you do better off if you can manage to get a collection. When you haven't got a collection, those cards that are sat in front of you as well can be attacked. So another player can still attack those and claim them from you, if you've basically not got the entire set. So they're all up for grabs, really, and as soon as all of the castles have been claimed from the centre of the table, the game is over and all the scores are totaled. Very simple game to play as well, and I think this one does retail roughly about £10, £10, £11, £12, something along those lines, and it's a very, very easy game to pick up and play and take down to your pub as well. I remember there is a board games event at a pub near to where we are, and that was one of the first games we sort of picked up and played. It's a good game, actually. We've played it a couple of times since I've purchased it back home as well. Now my third one, I'm really excited about this one because this one is a game that I acquired through Kickstarter. So I don't really know off the top of my head whether this one is actually available to buy just yet, but if you do see a copy, I would very much recommend grabbing it, because not only is it quite a good game, but the box is also like ingenious as well. So this game is called Tiny Ninjas, and I've just realised this one is Japanese as well. So yeah, it's also a Japanese theme and also games that you can take down the pub. So just quickly construct how this how the box comes together. So you can see here is what the box looks like ordinarily, so a nice little thin box like that, and you kind of think that's not the most portable. Now, it's still quite portable if you've got a little bag, but the reason why I think it's good for the pub, or just to take to a little cafe or something with you, is because you don't need to take up a lot of table space at all, because this box turns into its own little game. Look at this. This is amazing. So you've got these little supports here which sort of have opened up the box. You've got your rules here, but also inside you've got cards on this side which are a nice little holder, and also here, just pop these in. Look at these little score counters as well, which you can turn, and basically, you know, whichever one's yours is the score counter. So you'd ideally play this right in the centre here, so I'd be here, the person in front of me would be using this score counter and I'd be using this one. Now, the idea of this game, and again it's a dice rolling game, so right here in the tray you would just sort of roll your dice in there. Again, you've got a nice little dice holder, and also this is the little area where you will place your cards as well. So it's quite a cool little way to do it. So your cards, you have got loads of different sort of ninjas. You've got a vampire, there's a ghost ninja, there is a pirate ninja, there is a panda ninja. And the idea of it basically is you take it in turns to attack and defend, and basically you have a hand of a certain amount of cards, and the person who's attacking basically uses the you can see here the top line, and the person who's defending, so if you're using this card to defend, you'd be using the bottom line here as well. These little symbols, I'm not going to go into too much of the actual how the game works, because it is very simple, but there's no reason for me to sort of explain exactly how the cards works. It's basically kind of like an attack and defend sort of card game. If you like things like sort of top trumps, that sort of thing, as a basic idea, guideline for the game, that you're going to enjoy this basically. Very, very simple game again, to sort of to get to grips with. Some of them have like special abilities. You can see there at the very top. This master one here, there's quite a powerful card, and basically it's just a case of attack. So there is it's basically a game of like attack and defend, that sort of thing, and yeah, and just sort of dice rolling really, very similar to sort of what I was talking about with Art of War. Personally, the reason why I'm recommending this is basically because of how cool the little box thing is. I think it's ace. I don't know retail wise how much this, I would imagine it's probably retail somewhere around the £20 sort of mark, but it's definitely a game worth getting if you want something portable that you can play like in a caravan or something like that. That would be perfect for that sort of thing as well. But yeah, really enjoy this game. Do play it quite a lot. Showed it to a few people ever since I've had it off from Kickstarter, and even people who aren't necessarily fans of this particular sort of game have generally liked this game and said that they, you know, the game itself is exciting without the little sort of board game insert sort of ingenuity type thing. So it's a great game all round really, and I very much recommend it if you like a sort of a card game with sort of, you know, dice rolling sort of actions as well. So those are my three. We got, so yeah, Tiny Ninjas takes about 15 minutes to play, that sort of game. It is 2-player only, I'm afraid, so that, you know, that you are limited to that, but most games that you take down the pub sort of thing usually end up around about sort of 2-player mark. Yeah, and then you've got Age of War, which is from 2 to 6 players with that one. That takes about 15 to 30 minutes to play. And a quick recap as well. Love Letter as well, which again is roughly about sort of a 20-minute game, and that's for 2 to 4 people, that one as well. So you've got a good range of games that you could take down the pub there. Thank you very much anyway. I hope you've enjoyed this particular video. Let me know with what your thoughts are on these particular games in the comments below. If there are any games that you think I might particularly benefit from that I haven't played, well, you don't know why I haven't played, but if you think there's some games that you think would fit into this category quite well, by all means leave those in the comments as well, or just drop me a message as well, and I'll be happy to take a look at those. I'm always looking for new games anyway. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe as well, and check out my future videos. Thank you. Cheers.